The big meeting room on Space Station Nexus Prime was full of angry voices. Aliens from 47 different worlds sat around a huge table, all talking at once. They had been arguing for 3 months about the same thing. Earth wanted to open new trade routes through a dangerous area of space called the Veil Nebula. The aliens did not want this to happen. Jake Morrison sat quietly at the human table. He was Earth's main diplomat, a man who had spent 20 years talking to aliens. His hair was gray now, and his face showed the tired lines of someone who had heard too many lies. Next to him sat Captain Lisa Barnes, a military officer who had fought in 3 different wars against alien attackers. The insect-like alien called. Stor clicked his sharp mouth parts together. He was from a race called the Zephyrians, and he thought humans were stupid. "You humans do not understand how trade works in space," he said in his buzzing voice. "We have been doing business the same way for thousands of years. Your ideas will ruin everything." Lisa Barnes felt her hands make fists under the table. She remembered fighting against aliens who tried to take human colonies. She remembered watching her friends die while these same aliens sat safely in their meeting rooms. Now they acted like humans had never done anything good. A floating ball of light called Velenoth spoke next. It was from a group called the Ethereal Collective, beings made of pure energy who thought they were better than everyone else. "Perhaps the young species should learn from those who are older and wiser," it said, its light pulsing with each word. "Humans have only been in space for a short time. They should listen more and talk less." Jake Morrison felt something break inside his chest. For years, he had been polite to these aliens. He had smiled when they insulted his people. He had said thank you when they gave humans the worst jobs and the smallest rewards. But today felt different. "Let me tell you what humans have done," Morrison said, standing up slowly. His voice was calm, but Lisa could hear the anger underneath. "Our doctors created medicines that saved 6 billion alien lives last year. Our engineers built the shields that protect your trade ships from pirates. Our soldiers died fighting wars that you started, but were too scared to finish." The bear-like alien called Grexinol made a loud snorting sound. He was from the Corvin race. Big and strong, but not very smart. "Yes, humans are good at fighting. That is because you are violent animals. Real civilization is about peace, not war." Morrison looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked bored. Others looked annoyed. None of them looked like they cared about what he was saying. These beings used humans when they needed help, but they never treated humans as equals. "Our violence saved your people," Morrison said. "When the Crimson Fleet attacked your cargo ships, who stopped them? When the plague hit your colonies, who found the cure? When your defensive lines failed, who held them together?" Stor waved his thin arms dismissively. "Humans did what they were supposed to do. That does not make them our equals. We gave you our best technology," Morrison continued. "We shared our medical knowledge. We taught you our military tactics. And what did we get back? We got treated like useful pets." The room grew quiet. Some aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They knew Morrison was telling the truth, but they did not want to admit it. Velenoth's light grew brighter. "Humans are emotional creatures. This outburst proves they are not ready for true partnership." Morrison picked up his papers and put them in his briefcase. Lisa Barnes stood up too, her military uniform crisp and clean. Around the room, other humans began to stand. There were only 12 humans total, but they had been the most important 12 people in many of the galaxy's biggest decisions. "Captain Barnes," Morrison said in a clear voice, "signal the fleet." Lisa pulled out a small device and pressed a button. Far away, human ships began receiving new orders. All human forces were to return to Earth immediately. All joint operations with alien species were to stop. All human advisors were to pack up and leave. "What are you doing?" Clickstar buzzed, his voice suddenly worried. "Earth is leaving these?" "Talks," Morrison said. "We tried to be partners. You wanted servants. We will not be servants anymore." "You cannot just leave," Gregson roared. "We have agreements. We have contracts." "Read the contracts," Lisa Barnes said with a cold smile. "Earth can withdraw from any agreement with 30 days' notice. We are giving you that notice now." The aliens began talking all at once, their voices getting louder and angrier. Some demanded that the humans sit back down. Others threatened to cut off trade with Earth. A few even talked about using force to make the humans stay. Morrison walked toward the door, his team following behind him. "You have made your feelings clear," he said without turning around. "Humans are not your equals. Fine. We will not pretend to be your partners anymore." "This is foolish," Velanoth called out. "You need us more than we need you." Morrison stopped at the door and looked back one last time. "We will see about that," he said. The human delegation walked out of the meeting room, leaving behind 47 alien species who had no idea what they had just lost. In the hallway, Lisa Barnes looked at her commander. "Sir, are we really doing this?" Morrison nodded. "It is time these aliens learned to solve their own problems." Neither of them knew that in just a few months, the galaxy would be begging for their help. News about Earth leaving the big meeting spread fast through space, but most aliens just laughed about it. On the rich water world called Pristine, a fish-like alien named Zixthala floated in her fancy pools. She was important in something called the Aquatic Federation, and she thought humans were just having a temper tantrum. "Let them act like babies," she said to her helper, making bubbles in the water. "They will come back when they get hungry. Humans always need something from us." But things started going wrong very quickly. Colonel Ryan Mitchell was in charge of human spaceships at a place called Junction 7. This was an important spot, where many trade routes met. Pirates liked to attack cargo ships there, so human soldiers patrolled the area to keep it safe. Ryan got new orders from Earth in a message marked urgent. All human forces had to leave their posts and come home right away. No exceptions. No delays. "Sir, what about the Corvin trading post?" asked his second-in-command, Major Kate Wilson. "They depend on us to keep the pirates away." "Not our problem anymore," Ryan said, but he did not sound happy about it. "Pack everything up. We leave in 6 hours." The human ships jumped away, leaving Junction 7 empty. Within 1 week, pirates attacked 3 big cargo convoys. The aliens lost billions of credits worth of goods and hundreds of lives. The Corvin traders sent desperate messages asking when the humans would come back. Nobody answered. On a farming world called Harmony, Dr. Susan Walsh was packing up her research equipment. She had spent 5 years working on special crops that could grow without much water. These plants had saved farming on 12 different alien worlds. But when she asked the Galactic Council for more money to continue her work, they always said no. They said human methods were too dangerous and weird. "Are we really leaving all this behind?" asked Kevin Price, a young scientist who worked with her. He looked sad as he watched years of research being loaded into boxes. "The Council made their choice," Susan said. "They do not want human science. Fine. Let them figure out how to feed their people without us." Kevin looked at the test fields, full of amazing plants that could grow in desert sand. "But what about the colonies that need these crops to survive?" "They should have thought about that before treating us like we were stupid," Susan replied. Problems started happening everywhere humans had been working. On 6 different worlds, the water cleaning systems began to break down. These machines had been built by human engineers who understood how to make dirty water safe to drink. Without proper care, the system started failing. Millions of aliens had to start drinking unsafe water. The communication networks that connected distant colonies also began having trouble. Human technicians had installed most of these systems because they were good at making complex technology work reliably. Now error messages were appearing everywhere, and alien engineers could not fix them. Admiral Chun Wu stood on the bridge of his big warship called the ESS Defiant. He was in charge of all the human deep space fleets, and he felt angry about leaving. His ships had protected alien trade routes for 10 years. They had fought pirates, rescued lost ships, and kept the peace in dangerous parts of space. "Sir, we have 17 different alien species trying to call us," said Lieutenant Commander Amy Rodriguez. She was his communications officer, a smart woman who spoke 6 alien languages. "They want to know when we will start helping them again." "Tell them to call the Galactic Council," Sean said. "We do not work for them anymore." Amy looked uncomfortable. "Sir, some of these messages sound really desperate. The hegemony of scales is moving ships toward the border. Without our defensive plans, the aliens cannot stop them." Sean had fought against the hegemony before. They were a race of smart reptiles who wanted to conquer everyone else. For years, human military experts had designed defenses to keep them trapped in their own space. Those defenses were based on understanding how the hegemony liked to fight. The aliens said they did not need our violent ways, Chun replied. Let them use their peaceful methods to stop the scales. The first major disaster happened at a mining station called Deep Rock 7. The station processed valuable metals that many alien technologies needed to work. Human safety experts had designed the mining procedures to prevent accidents. They had also trained the alien workers on what to do if something went wrong, but the human experts were gone now. 3 weeks after they left, a gas explosion killed 200 alien miners. The station had to shut down, cutting off metal supplies to 15 different worlds. Alien leaders began to panic as their factories ran out of raw materials. Dr. Nathan Ford had been working on disease control for the Galactic Health Organization. He was an expert on space plagues, dangerous sicknesses that could spread between different alien species. His job was to watch for new diseases and create medicines to stop them before they killed millions. Nathan got his recall order while investigating a strange new sickness on the planet Vega 6. The disease was making people very sick, but he had not finished figuring out how to cure it. His alien assistants begged him to stay and finish his work. I am sorry, Nathan said as he packed his medical equipment. Earth has made its decision. If the Council valued our medical knowledge, they would have treated us as partners instead of servants. But people will die, pleaded Dr. Zentar, a tall, thin alien who had worked with Nathan for 3 years. People die every day, Nathan replied sadly. The Council decided that was acceptable as long as they did not have to treat humans as equals. 2 months after the humans left, the sickness on Vega 6 had spread to 4 other worlds. Without Nathan's expertise, alien doctors could not find a cure. The death count was rising fast, and panic was spreading even faster. The most frightening thing was happening in space itself. Human patrol ships had been keeping watch on something called the Wanderer Fleet. These were ships full of crazy aliens who traveled from world to world, stealing and destroying everything they found. The Wanderers were dangerous, but they had been afraid to attack major colonies because human warships were always hunting them. Now the human ships were gone. The Wanderers began attacking again, hitting soft targets like research stations and farming colonies. They moved fast and hit hard, taking what they wanted and disappearing before alien defense forces could respond. On Earth, President Helen Roberts read reports about everything that was happening in space. She sat in her office in Washington. looking at screens full of bad news. Alien colonies were failing. Trade was breaking down. Diseases were spreading. Pirates and raiders were attacking everywhere. "Ma'am," said Ray Foster, the head of Earth's intelligence service, "we have monitored over 300 emergency broadcasts from alien worlds in the past week. They are starting to realize how much they depended on us." Double quotes. Helen looked tired. Leading Earth through this crisis was the hardest thing she had ever done. "Any of them asking for help yet?" "No, ma'am. They are still too proud, but our analysts think that will change soon." Helen hoped the aliens would come to their senses before too many innocent people died. But she also knew that humans could not go back to being treated like second-class citizens. If the aliens wanted Earth's help, they would have to offer real partnership in return. 3 months after humans left the galaxy, everything was falling apart. The worst news came when the hegemony of scales finally attacked. These reptile aliens had been planning war for years, but they had been afraid to start because human military experts knew how to stop them. General Marcus Bell had spent his whole career studying how the hegemony liked to fight. He had created defensive plans for 17 different star systems, building a wall of protection that kept the scales trapped in their own space. But now Marcus was back on Earth, and his defensive plans were falling apart without him there. To run them, the scales moved fast and smart. They hit 3 star systems at the same time, using tactics that the other aliens had never seen before. Within 2 weeks, they had conquered 7 worlds and were moving toward the major trade centers. On the emergency council station Alpha Prime, panic filled the meeting rooms. Clickstar, the insect alien who had been so rude to humans, now looked scared and tired. His compound eyes were red from staying awake too long, trying to coordinate defenses that kept failing. "The hegemony has broken through the outer defense line," he reported to the other alien leaders. "Their bioships are immune to our energy weapons. They are using some kind of adaptive armor that changes to resist whatever we shoot at them." Valenoth, the floating energy being, flickered weakly. Usually it glowed bright with confidence, but now its light was dim and shaky. "How is this possible? We have superior technology. Our ships are faster and stronger than theirs." "Superior technology means nothing without proper strategy," said a voice from the communication system. The alien leaders looked up in surprise as a hologram appeared, showing a human in military uniform. It was Admiral Chen Wu, broadcasting from his flagship somewhere in human space. The aliens had not heard from any humans since they walked out of the talks 3 months ago. "Admiral Chun," Clickstar said, trying to sound dignified but failing. "We need to discuss the current situation." "I am not here to discuss anything," Chun replied coldly. "I am here to deliver a message from Earth." The alien leaders waited nervously. They were hoping the humans would offer to help, but Chun's expression showed no warmth or sympathy. "Earth has been watching what is happening in the galaxy," Chun continued. "We know about the hegemony invasion. We know about the plague outbreaks. We know about the pirate attacks and the trade route failures. We also know that some of you have been building planet-killer weapons." Several aliens shifted uncomfortably. The ethereal collective had indeed been working on weapons that could destroy entire worlds. They were desperate to stop the hegemony, even if it meant killing billions of innocent people. "Earth will not help you with any of these problems," Chun announced. "You made it clear that humans are not your equals. You said you did not need us. Prove it." "But billions will die," Grexenol roared. The big bear-like alien looked desperate now, nothing like the proud warrior who had dismissed human violence as primitive. "Billions are already dying," Chun replied without emotion. "That is not Earth's fault. That is yours." The hologram disappeared, leaving the alien leaders sitting in shocked silence. Meanwhile, the problems kept getting worse. The plague that Dr. Nathan Ford had been studying on Vega 6 was now called the Crimson, death because of the red rash it caused before killing people. Without human medical experts, alien doctors could not find a cure. The disease had spread to 15 worlds and was killing millions. On the agricultural world of New Harvest, the crops were failing. Dr. Susan Walsh's drought-resistant plants had been keeping the colony alive, but without proper care, the special crops were dying. The colonists were facing starvation, and there was nowhere else they could go. The pirates were having a great time. With human patrol ships gone, they could attack anyone they wanted. The Crimson Fleet, led by a cruel alien called Captain Scartooth, was raiding 3 or 4 cargo ships every day. They took everything valuable and sold the crew members as slaves. Trade between worlds had almost stopped completely. Ship captains were afraid to travel because there was no protection. Colonies that depended on imports were running out of food, medicine, and basic supplies. Some worlds were talking about building their own armies, which would start wars between species that had been friends for centuries. But the scariest thing was happening in the research labs. Desperate alien scientists were trying to create new weapons to fight the hegemony. They were experimenting with viruses, poisonous gases, and devices that could make stars explode. Most of these experiments were going wrong, creating new dangers that nobody knew how to control. Dr. Patricia Shaw, Earth's former liaison to the Galactic Medical Consortium, was reading reports about all these disasters from her office on Earth. She had dedicated her life to helping alien species fight diseases, but now she could only watch as plagues spread across the galaxy. The Andorian fever has mutated again, she told President Roberts during their daily briefing. Without constant monitoring and vaccine updates, it is becoming more deadly every day. Our computer models show it could kill half the population of the inner colonies within a year. President Roberts rubbed her tired eyes. Leading Earth through this crisis was exhausting, but she knew they had made the right choice. Any word from the Council about accepting our terms? Nothing official, replied Ray Foster, the intelligence director. But our deep space sensors are picking up lots of encrypted communications between alien worlds. They are scared, but they are still too proud to admit they were wrong. The breaking point came when the hegemony attacked the holy world of Sanctum Prime. This planet was sacred to 12 different alien religions, and it had never been attacked in over 1,000 years. The Scales did not care about alien religions. They landed their bioships and began turning the temples into breeding grounds for their war creatures. The attack on Sanctum Prime shocked the entire galaxy. Even species that hated each other were horrified by this violation of sacred ground. But when they tried to organize a rescue mission, they realized they did not know how. Human military advisors had always planned these kinds of operations. Human strategists had always coordinated multi-species fleets. Human logistics experts had always figured out how to supply and support complex military campaigns. Without humans, the aliens could not work together. The Zephyrians wanted to attack from one direction, while the Corvins wanted to attack from another. The Ethereal Collective insisted on using energy weapons, while the Silicon Confederacy preferred projectile guns. Every species had different communication systems, different tactical doctrines, and different ideas about how wars should be fought. While the aliens argued, the hegemony consolidated their control over Sanctum Prime. They sent out broadcasts, showing their war beasts destroying ancient temples and eating sacred artifacts. The message was clear. If the galaxy's most holy site could not be protected, nowhere was safe. Young aliens who had worked with humans began to speak up. Captain Nexus of the Stellar Patrol was an insect alien who had served alongside human officers during the border wars. She had seen how humans could turn impossible situations into victories through clever thinking and brave action. We need To swallow our pride, she told a secret meeting of junior officers from different species. The humans were right about everything. They warned us about the hegemony tactics. They told us how to prevent plague outbreaks. They designed the defensive systems that kept us safe for years. Lieutenant Zorax, a crystal being from the Silicon Confederacy, resonated with agreement. His people communicated through harmonic vibrations, and his tones showed deep regret. My analysis confirms that human recommendations from the past 5 years would have prevented or reduced every current crisis. Our leaders' refusal to treat them as equals has led directly to this catastrophe. These younger aliens began organizing. In secret, they bypassed the official council hierarchy and sent the message directly to Earth. It was a simple message, but it took great courage to send. We were wrong. Please help us. We offer full partnership as equals. 6 months had passed since Earth walked away from the galaxy. Now everything was burning. The hegemony of scales had conquered 23 star systems and showed no signs of stopping. Their reptile warriors were smart and cruel, turning captured worlds into factories for growing more soldiers. The Crimson Death Plague had spread to 8 different sectors of space. Billions of aliens were dead, and billions more were dying. Without human medical experts like Dr. Nathan Ford, alien doctors could only watch helplessly as the disease killed entire colonies. Pirates controlled more than half of all trade routes now. The famous Crimson Fleet had grown from a small gang into a massive armada of stolen ships. They attacked cargo vessels, passenger liners, and even medical transports carrying desperately needed supplies to sick worlds. On the emergency council station, the alien leaders looked like broken creatures. Clickstar had not slept in weeks. His insect eyes were dull and unfocused as he tried to coordinate defenses that kept failing. Every plan they made, the hegemony countered with ease. "We have lost contact with the Stellar Republic," announced Velinoth, the energy being's light flickering weakly. Their entire fleet was destroyed at the Battle of Kepler Station. The hegemony breakthrough force is now heading directly for the core worlds. Grexinol, the massive bear-like alien, slammed his fist on the table so hard it cracked. "How can this be happening? We have better ships, stronger weapons, more advanced technology than these reptile savages." "Technology without strategy is useless," came a familiar voice from the communication array. The alien leaders looked up in shock as Admiral Chunwu's hologram appeared in the center of their meeting room. The human officer looked calm and professional, but his eyes showed no sympathy for their desperate situation. "Admiral Chun," Clickstar said, his voice breaking with desperation, "thank the Void you have contacted us. We need Earth's help immediately. The situation is beyond critical." "I am not here to offer help," Chun replied coldly. "I am here to warn you about something that will make your situation much worse." The aliens waited in fearful silence. What could possibly be worse than what they were already facing? Our intelligence. Networks have detected that several Council species are preparing to use world-killer weapons, Chun announced. Planet crackers, star poisoners, and other devices of mass extinction. The alien leaders avoided looking at each other. Chun was right. The Ethereal Collective had built a weapon that could make stars collapse. The Silicon Confederacy was working on nanomachines that could eat entire planets. The Aquatic Federation had created a virus designed to kill every form of life it touched. "Desperate times require desperate measures," Velinoth said weakly. "If we cannot stop the hegemony conventionally, we must use whatever weapons we have. Earth will not allow the use of galaxy-ending weapons," Chun stated firmly. "Any species that deploys such devices will face the full military might of the Earth Defense Force. We will treat world killers as acts of war against all life in the galaxy." "You would protect the hegemony?" Grexino roared in disbelief. "We." would protect innocent civilians, Chun corrected. Every hegemony world has billions of non-combatants. Children, elderly, disabled individuals who have no part in this war. Earth will not stand by and watch genocide, no matter who commits it. So you will let us all die rather than help us win? Clickstar asked bitterly. Chun's expression did not change. You chose to treat humans as inferior beings. You dismissed our warnings, rejected our strategies, and insulted our contributions. Every crisis you face now, we predicted years ago. Every solution you need, we offered, and you refused. The hologram flickered and disappeared, leaving the alien leaders alone with their failures. Things got even worse over the next few weeks. The hegemony launched a new offensive using bioweapons that turned captured aliens into mindless soldiers. These infected beings kept their technical knowledge, but obeyed only hegemony commands. Entire defense fleets surrendered when their own officers were converted and ordered them to stand down. The plague situation became truly horrific when the Crimson Death mutated again. The new strain could survive in vacuum, meaning it could spread through space itself. Trading ships became flying death traps, carrying the disease from world to world faster than anyone could track it. Dr. Patricia Shaw sat in her laboratory on Earth, watching reports of the galactic catastrophe. As Earth's former medical liaison, she had dedicated her life to fighting alien diseases. Now she could only observe as billions died from plagues she knew how to cure. The Zephyri and Hive worlds are requesting immediate medical assistance. Her assistant Dr. Paul Martinez reported. Their entire population is at risk from a new strain of Andorian fever. What did they offer in exchange? Patricia asked sadly. Nothing. They still refuse to acknowledge that they need human expertise. They claim they are just asking for humanitarian aid between civilized species. Patricia turned away from her screens. Then they will have to figure it out themselves. The most terrifying development came when the Wanderer fleet emerged from the deep dark, a dangerous region of space where few dared to travel. These nomadic aliens had spent decades building a massive armada of stolen and salvaged ships. With human patrol forces gone, nothing stood between them and the rich core worlds. The Wanderers were different from the hegemony. The Scales wanted to conquer and rule. The Wanderers just wanted to destroy everything they could not steal. They had no home world to defend, no permanent bases to attack. They moved like a swarm of locusts, consuming everything in their path. Before disappearing back into the void, President Helen Roberts received hourly updates on the deteriorating situation from her secure bunker beneath Washington. The reports painted a picture of galactic civilization collapsing faster than anyone had thought possible. Madam President, said Ray Foster during their morning briefing, our deep space monitoring stations had detected weapon signatures consistent with planet-killer devices. At least 4 different species are preparing to deploy extinction-level weapons. And the younger alien leaders who contacted us? Roberts asked, still trying to organize support, but the older council members are blocking them at every turn. Pride is literally killing their entire civilization. Dr. Shaw entered the briefing room with the latest medical reports. The Crimson Death has now reached the galactic core. Without immediate intervention, we estimate complete ecosystem collapse on 37 worlds within the next 2 months. Roberts stood at the window, looking up at stars that seemed dimmer. Now, any word from Admiral Chun about the hegemony situation? The Scales have just taken the fortress world of Iron Gate, Foster replied grimly. That was supposed to be the aliens' last line of defense before the core worlds. Our analysts estimate the hegemony will reach the major population centers within 6 weeks, and the civilian casualties? Current death toll from all causes is approaching 50 billion and rising exponentially, Dr. Shaw reported quietly. Disease, warfare, piracy, infrastructure collapse, and starvation are all Contributing factors. Roberts felt the weight of those numbers. 50 billion sentient beings dead because alien leaders had been too proud to treat humans as equals. The irony was bitter. The same aliens who had called humans violent and primitive were now building weapons that could sterilize entire solar systems. "Ma'am," Foster continued, "we have also detected concerning activity in the Corvin system. Intelligence suggests they are preparing to detonate their own star rather than let the hegemony capture their homeworld." Roberts closed her eyes. How many people live in that system? 12 billion on 7 worlds, plus another 3 billion on space stations and mining platforms. The president of Earth made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Get me a secure line to the young alien leaders. "It is time to discuss terms." "Ma'am?" Foster asked. "The galaxy is dying," Roberts said firmly. "We proved our point. Now we need to decide whether we want to be right or whether we want to save lives. And Ray, prepare Admiral Chun for possible deployment. If we do this, we do it right." The secret meeting happened on a small research station hidden in the asteroid belt near Mars. Captain Nexus of the Stellar Patrol had risked everything to come here. So had Lieutenant Zorax of the Silicon Confederacy, Commander Yixtal of the Aquatic Federation, and dozens of other young alien officers who had worked with humans before. They sat around a simple table in a plain room, nothing like the fancy council chambers where their leaders made speeches. These young aliens had seen their worlds burning while their elders argued about pride and politics. They had watched billions die while the older generation refused to admit they were wrong. "We offer unconditional surrender of our previous position," Captain Nexus said formally. "Full partnership in galactic governance, equal voting rights, shared technology agreements, recognition of human contributions to galactic security and science." President Helen Roberts studied the faces around the table through her secure video link from Earth. These aliens looked tired and desperate, but also determined. They were risking their careers and possibly their lives to make this meeting happen. "What about your current leaders?" Roberts asked. "The ones who walked out on us 6 months ago?" "They have lost all credibility," replied Lieutenant Zorax, his crystal body resonating with bitter harmonics. "Even their own people blame them for the current catastrophe. If we can end this crisis, they will have no choice but to step down." Dr. Patricia Shaw leaned forward in her chair. "Before we discuss politics, let me be clear about the medical situation. The Crimson Death has mutated into something truly dangerous. Without immediate intervention, it will kill everything in the galaxy within 2 years. Everything. Plants, animals, bacteria, even some machines." The alien officers looked shocked. They had known the plague was bad, but they had not realized it was a threat to all life. "Our doctors cannot stop it," Commander Yixtal admitted. "We have tried everything. The disease adapts faster than we can create cures. Dr. Nathan Ford has been working on this problem since you asked us to leave," Dr. Shaw replied. "He has a solution, but it requires resources and coordination that only a united galactic effort can provide." Admiral Chun Wu joined the conversation from his command ship. "The military situation is even worse. The hegemony has taken 30 systems and is moving toward the core worlds. Their bioweapons are converting captured populations into slave soldiers. At their current rate of expansion, they will control half the galaxy within a year. Can you stop them?" asked Captain Nexus. "With the right support, yes," Chun replied. "General Marcus Bell has been refining his defensive strategies for months. We know exactly how to break their advance and push them back. But it requires unprecedented cooperation between human and alien forces." Ray Foster, Earth's intelligence director, brought up the most dangerous issue. "Our satellites have detected at least 6 different world-killer weapons being prepared for deployment. If any of those are used, they could trigger a chain reaction that destroys this entire sector of the galaxy. The young alien officers exchanged worried glances. They had heard rumors about the extinction weapons, but they had hoped the rumors were wrong. Some of our leaders have gone insane with desperation, Lieutenant Zorax admitted. They would, rather, destroy everything that admit they were wrong about humans. President Roberts made her decision. Earth accepts your terms, but we have conditions of our own. The aliens waited nervously. First, this is not just about ending the current crisis, Roberts continued. We are going to rebuild galactic civilization from the ground up. No more species-based hierarchy. No more treating any race as superior or inferior. Merit and contribution will determine status, not age or technology level. We accept, Captain Nexus said immediately. Second, Earth will have veto power over any weapons of mass destruction. No species gets to build planet killers or similar devices without our approval. The galaxy will never again come this close to total annihilation. Agreed, said Commander Yixtal. Third, human military, medical, and scientific expertise will be integrated into all galactic institutions. No more advisory roles. Full partnership with decision-making authority. The alien officers nodded eagerly. This was what they had hoped for. And finally, Roberts said, her voice growing stern, the leaders who created this mess will face justice. War crimes tribunals, reparations for the worlds they failed to protect, and removal from all positions of authority. We will not work with the same aliens who caused this disaster. The young officers looked uncomfortable, but nodded. They knew their older leaders had failed catastrophically. We understand, Captain Nexus said quietly. Justice must be served. President Roberts smiled for the first time in months. Then let us begin. Admiral Chun, prepare the fleets for immediate deployment. Dr. Shaw, get your medical teams ready for the largest disease containment operation in galactic history. General Bell, dust off those battle plans. The response was swift and overwhelming. Within hours, human ships began jumping into crisis zones across the galaxy. The S-Defiant led a task force of 50 warships toward the hegemony front lines. Medical ships filled with human doctors and equipment raced toward plague-infected worlds. Engineering vessels headed for failing colonies to repair critical infrastructure. The first major victory came at the Battle of Kepler's Gate. The hegemony had been advancing through this strategic star system for weeks, crushing every alien defense force sent against them. But when General Marcus Bell's battle plan was executed by combined human-alien fleets, everything changed. The reptile aliens found themselves facing tactics they had never encountered. Human ships used hit-and-run attacks to confuse hegemony formations, while alien heavy cruisers delivered devastating firepower from unexpected angles. The bioships that had seemed invincible suddenly found themselves outmaneuvered and destroyed. Target their command vessels first, Bell ordered from his command post on Earth. The hegemony uses centralized control. Cut off the head, and the body dies. The strategy worked perfectly. Within 6 hours, the hegemony advance was broken. Their biofleet retreated in disorder, leaving behind thousands of captured worlds, too. Be liberated by advancing human-alien forces. Dr. Nathan Ford arrived on Vega-6 with a team of human and alien medical experts. The Crimson Death had turned this once beautiful world into a nightmare of disease and death. But Nathan had spent months developing a treatment protocol that could stop the plague. The key is understanding how the disease reproduces, he explained to his mixed species team. It uses quantum replication, which is why conventional medicines do not work. But if we disrupt the quantum field at specific frequencies, we can cause the virus to destroy itself. The treatment worked beyond their wildest hopes. Within days, the death rate on Vega 6 dropped to almost zero. Within weeks, people were recovering completely. The protocol was immediately transmitted to every world in the galaxy, saving billions of lives. But the most dramatic moment came when human ships arrived at Sanctum Prime, the holy world the hegemony had desecrated. The reptile aliens had turned the sacred temples into breeding grounds for their war creatures, committing what many species considered the worst crime in galactic history. Colonel Ryan Mitchell led the Liberation Force. His Marines stormed the defiled temples with righteous fury, showing no mercy to the hegemony forces they found there. Within hours, the sacred sites were free, and alien pilgrims wept with joy as human soldiers respectfully restored damaged religious artifacts. The psychological impact was enormous. Across the galaxy, aliens watched human forces risk their lives to protect holy sites that were not even from human religions. A contrast with their own leaders, who had been willing to destroy entire worlds out of desperation, was stark and humbling. The old council leaders tried one last desperate gambit. Clickstar, Velenov, and Grexonal announced that they would deploy their world-killer weapons rather than accept human partnership. They claimed that extinction was preferable to admitting they had been wrong. Their own people stopped them. On dozens of worlds, alien populations rose up against their leaders. Military officers refused orders to prepare extinction weapons. Scientists sabotaged planet-killer devices rather than see them used. The younger generation of aliens had finally found their courage. Within 3 months, the crisis was over. The hegemony was defeated and contained. The Crimson Death was cured. The pirates were hunted down and captured. Trade routes were reopened under human protection. The galaxy was healing. The new Galactic Council met for the first time on Earth in a simple conference room in New York City. There were no fancy decorations or elaborate ceremonies. Representatives from 47 species sat around a basic table as equals, working together to solve problems instead of arguing about status. Captain Nexus, now promoted to Admiral, served as the first elected council president. Her opening speech was short and honest. "We nearly destroyed everything because we were too proud to admit that humans deserved respect," she said. "We will never make that mistake again." This new council is based on one simple principle. We judge people by what they do, not what species they come from. President Roberts watched the ceremony from the gallery, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and sadness. Earth had proven its point, but the cost had been terrible. $50 billion.